So tell us a little bit more about your business and how it was inspired.
Yeah, so my business, Millennial Theramom, I remember being 3 months, a little bit less than 3 months postpartum, sitting in a hotel. And I think it's kind of come alongside my own faith journey. So really feeling like, wow, this is a vulnerable season of my life. There's so many emotions, so many changes. I didn't really want to go back to work, but that, pay time off was knocking on my door. And I feel like I was just sitting on the couch one day and God just kind of planted like Millennial Theramom. And I had always worked in mental health and community mental health with families. And I guess I just never thought about like, what is it that leads to a family to have so much trauma in their lives? Sometimes there are things outside of our circumstances, things that happen, but there can also be trauma in how we relate to each other. So I remember working with kids and teens that them and their parents just had no relationship.
Right.
It was like, emotions are bad, stop crying, like you're being too much. And that's just kind of the cycles that a lot of parents were raised on. So I remember feeling like, wow, there is some real true breaking of cycles that need to happen when it comes to mental health specifically. And because I've already had the passion of mental health, it was just kind of adding the postpartum sauce onto it.
I love it. Postpartum sauce. Yes.
Where it was like, okay, like this is the foundations of becoming a parent. And as a whole therapist, again, like I was already a licensed therapist by the time I had my baby. I was in that emotional roller coaster. So I saw my own therapy, and then I saw my own training because, again, I mentioned I wasn't going to be going back to work, but we still needed to make extra income. So I was like, let me just try to create my website. I remember having my daughter like tiny and trying to create my little website on Canva, like, we're doing this, girl. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and even now my logo has her because she was the foundation. Just becoming a mom and being like, I want to help break cycles. Like I want to feel like I can thrive and show her that mommy rests and mommy has needs, and learning how to communicate. But one thing that I wasn't anticipating was just all the shifts inside of me, like all of the feeling inadequate and feeling like, breastfeeding was really hard. And I was like, everyone says this is natural, like, and you can't help but sometimes to blame yourself. That and like, how do I feed myself? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and what's happening to me hormonally? I'm crying all the time. And I'm always been a nerd. I love podcasts. I love reading. So of course I took in all of the podcasts. I read all of the books. There's so many for the fourth trimester, thriving postpartum, matrescence, releasing the mother load. Like I'm telling you, it was mostly audiobooks.
I'm just really impressed that you remembered all the names.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm like, I read a book.
I was saying they give you the book at the hospital, like How to Be a Mom, first book. I'm like, I can't remember that name of the book.
I've always been a big reader, and I think learning how, like, I really had to even engage in audiobooks more because actually sitting down and reading a book wasn't a thing. But for me, learning about all of postpartum mental health helped ease a lot of my own postpartum mental health struggles because I felt validated. I'm like, oh, okay, it's normal to like have some sadness or to have some grief and joy. I'm not a bad mom for having these real feelings. So basically, I ended up taking a training through Postpartum Support International when my daughter was probably 4 months old. And there I learned a lot more. I learned about all the things some of the things that we'll talk about today. And I was like, I want this to be my thing. And yeah, ever since then, it's just been evolving. I started a YouTube channel when I was 6 months postpartum because that was after I had taken the training. I was like, I just want to get this information out there. Like, what are some things to look out for? What are some things that we can care for ourselves as new moms, as new parents? And that's just been evolving. Like now I call it the escuelita. So it's like a little online community.
What's escuelita for all those non-Spanish?
Yeah, it's a little school.
A little school.
It's a little school. So I wanted to throw in my culture in there because I do think that there's a lot of things from my own culture that I inherited that were passed into how I mothered. So resting, asking for help, like little things like that I just didn't see my mom model. I was realizing like, oh, I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know how to receive help, or I feel guilty. So now, my journey is just continuing to grow, but I'm grateful and honored that now I've had the chance to do some like workshops for organizations, some trainings. I'm going to be releasing like a little grounded postpartum group coming up in the summer as well, just to go over like, it's 6 parts, so go over some of like the basic things that I feel like we should all have access to when we're either pregnant or becoming parents when it comes to mental health. So
how will the women be able to join that group?
Yeah, so there's a branch off of Millennial Thermome called Grounded Motherhood, and that has its own little website now. So groundedmotherhood.com, and it has the link for like all the free cafecitos that I do.
What's cafecito?
It's a little coffee.
So for all those who don't know, in the Latin community, we tend to little everything to make it cute.
It's cute. Yeah, it's like a little cafecito. It's a little coffee chat, really. So we kind of come together and we have little conversations. Because the semester 2, I'm calling it, in the escuelita, the little school, is around mothering our inner niñas, our inner child. The cafecitos will have some questions around like, what is it that your inner child is speaking to you and asking for in this stage of your motherhood? So really just a space to come together as moms and like, but let's be real, like how are we actually feeling? And I'm a big, let's breathe together, let's ground, let's just validate and encourage each other. So